Hello everyone, especially for all the beginners with colored pencils and the ones who are using this brand. This is my favorite beginner colored pencil brand. This is the FCCCP or the Faber Castell Classic colored pencils. Here in the Philippines, this is the most widely used by beginners. And if you are a beginner, and if you haven't seen this tutorial, this is an old tutorial, but I want to re-update it and I want to make sure that it has a fresh take. Personally, after so many years of using this Faber Castell Classic colored pencils, and the paper that I use here is my ultimate favorite paper for FCCP particularly, which is the Canson Mitientes paper. This is originally a pastel paper, but this it works really well with FCCP. And if you want to get it, you can get the starter pack of this Canson Mitientes, which is not very expensive. It has 5 sheets. And you can just use it with your FCCP drawing. So on this particular tutorial, I want to share with you how I use this FCCP. This is a kid's grade colored pencil, but it's really nice. It's really great, especially for beginners. So you will see here all the colors that I use for this particular drawing. And what I do first is right here, I establish the dark shadows by blocking in my darker shadows, and then I start coloring the skin tone after I was able to block in. If you notice, I use black and dark brown to block in the shadows. Since you are using a kid's grade colored pencil, you are allowed to use very dark shadows. So don't hesitate to use dark browns, even black for very dark shadows on the face. So don't hesitate, because this is not polychromos, this is not Prismacolor. It will not be as vivid, all those dark colors. So you just use them. Use your dark browns, your light browns, your maroon colors, because if you don't use them, your drawing will look pale and it doesn't look good. So if you are a beginner and you want to pursue a career on portraiture, or you want to get commission portraits in the future, you can start practicing with FCCP or with this Faber Castell Classic colored pencils. Just don't rush. The most important thing, if you're a beginner, colored pencil is a very slow process medium. You need to be able to layer gradually. Do not rush your portrait. It will not look good. It will not blend easily if you rush your colored pencils. And you need to always keep the point of the pencils very sharp to be able to layer on top of the paper. Now, this paper that I'm using, which is the Canson Mitientes right here using FCCP, it has a very, very nice texture to it. So in contrary to what a lot of beginners believe, that to be able to achieve smooth skin tone, you need smooth paper. That is not true with colored pencil. You need textures with colored pencils, but not as rough as watercolor papers. Papers with very fine textures is perfect for this kind of pencils, which is kids grade or student grade. You need textures, and this Canson Mitientes has two sides. It has the rough side, and the back is the finer side. You use the finer side of the paper, and you will be able to layer lots of colored pencils on top of the finer texture of the paper. But texture, that is a must. You really need texture to be able to layer more, because especially with FCCP or other student or kids grade colored pencils, which don't have which the pigments are not as vivid compared to artist quality pencils. So textures is needed to be able to multi-layer, and multi-layering is very important to achieve realistic smooth skin tone. With textured paper, you can get smoother skin tone. With smooth paper, you can get rough skin tone, because the pigments of the colored pencils has no textures to adhere to. So it will just be on the surface of the smooth paper, and you will not be able to layer on top of it. So again, the idea here is multi-layering. You need to be able to layer lots of colored pencils. You can observe on this video, I'm sharing with you even the colors that I am using to be able to achieve a better skin tone. Even if this, you don't need, as a beginner, you don't need expensive colored pencils. You don't it will not be very economical when you are practicing portraiture. You really need to start with this kind of colored pencils. Now this one is optional. This is well, Gamsol, or this liquid, this is Gamsol. This is an odorless mineral spirit. This is optional. You don't need to have it if it's not yet on your budget. But if it is, this is not very expensive, and you will use very little amount of this liquid just to be able to blend the colored pencils. So it will help in making the drawing smoother, especially to be able to mix, because this pencil is not as soft as Prismacolors or Polychromo, so you need a lot of blending technique or help from other things like this one. The liquid that I used is very, very helpful to be able to achieve a skin tone like this. But if you can't afford Gamsol or odorless mineral spirit, that is optional. A cloth, a cotton cloth or anything, any cloth, you can just use it to blend it, the skin tone, instead of using the Gamsol. But if you can't use that, that's okay. You can use tissue to be able, just to be able to help you blend more. But you can use also the burnishing technique, or you can use the white pencil to blend the skin tone. And you can use the flesh of the FCCP also to blend the skin tone, and it will have the same smooth blending if you don't have the Gamsol. So here, I use soft pastel on the background because I want to make it faster. But for the hair, just the same, you do multi-layering. You start with the dark right here. You start with the details of the hair. You just go with the flow of the direction of the hair. You don't need to draw single strands of hair. You just need to draw the shadows under the hair before you color it. So just the same with the skin tone, you need to block in your shadows on the hair to be able to achieve volume of the hair. And then again, multi-layering. You cannot achieve anything with just one, two, or three colors. Use your palette. Get a bigger FCCP set to be able to for you to have more colors to use on your drawing. So just don't forget to use dark colors. That is what if you are a beginner, I understand the fear of using the darker colors, but you really need to use them. Dark colors, you take advantage of your dark colors. They will not be very, very dark, and they will just work really fine. So just be patient, always practice, and don't worry about the exact colors. Just pick whatever you have on your set, and they will work just fine. So the important thing on this tutorial that I showed you is just continue with your passion, and just continue practicing, continue drawing, and you will be a better portrait artist, and you can afford expensive art materials someday.